Make of the claims made by the Deputy President?
You know, the Deputy President is an adult Kenyan, and the statements that he makes are extremely serious and is about threat to his life. And I think what the Directorate of Criminal Investigation has done is proper, because who are these who wanted to kill him, and for whatever reasons? And you know, if you tell Kenyans that somebody wanted to kill you, we would like to know the truth, and the truth must be known. And therefore, the institution says with the responsibility of establishing that truth is the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, so that then the person in question can be accorded optimum and maximum security, because that is the responsibility of the security infrastructure of this country. And since that is a criminal allegation, without prompting and without being prompted, the DCI must get to the bottom. And indeed, as Kenyans, we deserve an explanation. And that explanation should come from the Criminal Investigating Department. And they can only do it competently on the basis of a statement recorded and depended on by the Deputy President. That is routine procedure and routine requirement. Because we've seen, even in the US, anybody who declares to be president is always under threat of assassination. And the US president in every minute has got assassination threats of 2,000 times. 2,000 times you can be shot at any time. And so the work of the Secret Service is to offer maximum protection to anybody intending to be president, anybody who has been former president. And so the security of very important persons in any country is the responsibility of the state infrastructure. And for the country to adequately prepare for the security of Rigathi Gachagua, now and in future, then the DCI must be able to dig to the bottom of the truth. And if need be, if there was any individual perpetrating, planning, dreaming, and imagining about eliminating Rigathi Gachagua, should be brought to books. We can do all these politics, but not to the extent of thinking of eliminating lives of individuals. At the end of the day, lives of everyone must be protected. We cannot conduct politics where there is intention to eliminate lives of anybody. And I think it is on that strength and on that basis that the DCI has summoned him. And as Kenyans, civilized Kenyans, we would encourage the Deputy President to avail himself at the DCI and record. And we would like to see action undertaken by the DCI. I want to believe that the Deputy President has adequate information on which individuals within that framework were intending and attempting to take away his life.
Thank you.
And those individuals involved should be able to explain to account exactly, forensically, what they were doing.
Mr. Widi, Gachagua says he does not feel safe. When someone in the stature of the Deputy President, former Deputy President, if you know, we are going by his impeachment, says he does not feel safe. I mean, raises serious questions. For him to come out and even, you know, give the exact dates when he says all these assassination attempts happen, these are very serious concerns. Raises very serious questions.
I don't think anybody should be concerned. Since the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua began, he has made ridiculous allegations left, right, and center. In fact, I take offense when the media insists that there is a battle between the president and Rigathi Gachagua. The battle that is existing in this country today is between Rigathi Gachagua and the Constitution of Kenya. And the players in the field, the referees in the field, are the Senate and the National Assembly. So I think bringing the president's name into this thing multiple times is Rigathi Gachagua's crybaby thing that is seeking public sympathy. First of all, Rigathi Gachagua is assigned several security officers, at least that point in time when he was still the DP. Those officers are not entirely security. They are also safety officers. So if somebody attempted to poison Rigathi Gachagua, this somebody was not a robot, it was a human being. Did they arrest him? Did they report him? And the Rigathi Gachagua has already told us that he's the only person who can tell the president the truth. What stopped him from telling the people the truth, if he can tell the president the truth, that I was in Kisumu and they almost poisoned me, and these are the people who almost poisoned me? Those security and safety officers, those security officers undercover, it means they were covered with what? If they were undercover, how did they know they even existed? They knew. And they should to tell us what type of poison was this, at what point in time. I was personally in that entourage of the president in Kisumu, and each time we were having anything to eat, where the president was and the deputy, it was a buffet. And everybody was serving himself, including the president. Yes, and if this took place in the hotel, I think that is a matter that he should have, even if he feared the president, he should have taken that matter with the hotel and also with the people of Kenya and tell us the truth. This is a man, I have told you multiple times, doesn't say the truth. He's not a truthful man. He's a brazen man, a man who would say any ridiculous things without feeling guilty, without feeling embarrassment, without shame.
How are you able to establish that, you know, including this allegation of attempted assassination is indeed false? How are you able to?
It is false because if it was true, you would have said it then. The circumstances he finds himself now is the reason why he's looking for every excuse to seek public sympathy that I was being killed. These are the same things he said of Uhuru Kenyatta when they were campaigning against him. So we know him for these wild allegations. Attempt to kill a deputy president is a simple thing. It is something that should have been reported a long time ago and investigated. And those officers that are with him for his safety and security are loyal to him, not anybody else. And they are officers who have the right and the privilege to arrest anybody trying to threaten the life of the DP.
Okay, thank you very much. So from what you're saying is that the allegations is making do not hold any water because he has not substantiated them. There's nothing to show that indeed he followed up the issue to ensure that they were addressed. They
are just that an allegation. In fact, what Rigathi Gachagua is trying to do is to paint the president as dirty as possible. And he keeps on bringing his name again and again as if in that impeachment article, if the president is anywhere there. This is a battle between him, the Constitution of Kenya, arbitrated by the two legislative assemblies.
Okay, fair enough. Before I engage you, Mr. Sosion, if you're saying, Mr. Owiri, that the allegations made by the deputy president do not hold any water based on it being substantiated or there not being evidence regarding that particular issue, we'll leave that to the DCI. If at all the former DP will go to DCI today. But I remember some time back when you were here, you also alleged that the DP was probably behind the assassination of a senior figure in this country, in the security hierarchy, but you did not also provide any substantive evidence that indeed it could be involved. So
I think I remember that I said investigation should be done. You know me, I'm very careful. I'm not like Rigathi. I said investigation should be done on the death of Ogola because the death of Ogola came after something also very profound. The kicking out of the chief of staff in the office of the DP. Then the next profound thing, the Limuru 3, where the community really disparaged the president.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Sosion, coming back to you. Now, the deputy president's legal team yesterday they did write to the deputy registrar of the High Court, and they said there are two cases that they made that will be before the three-judge bench today, and they believe those particular cases are before the three-judge bench without the approval of the Chief Justice. Some quotas do argue that the Deputy President's legal team, and including the Gachagua himself, are already, at what would say some would say a warpath with the judiciary, in which they expect to, present their case and be able to get justice out of it. Do you think it is a wise idea for the legal team representing Gachagua to be able to mount all these accusations?
I've been a great user of the courts, and when the right to litigate was placed in Article 22 of the Constitution, it was meant to codify the rights of every citizen, and therefore the arguments being canvassed in courts are legitimate within that entity, and they will be dispensed of within the same process. Yeah, if indeed certain reservations have been raised by the legal team, it is within the knowledge of the bench that will be sitting today. It is also within the knowledge of the Chief Justice, who is the President of the Supreme Court. So back and forth arguments will prevail, but ultimately a judgment will be delivered one way or the other, whether today by the same bench, which also has jurisdiction to do so. The question is, does the bench that is sitting today have jurisdiction to sit and determine those cases? And can all the cases be consolidated and brought under the same bench? That still is a possibility. And those arguments of procedures will be undertaken. And the arguments being raised by the team of the Deputy President will also be responded to by the other team of lawyers for Parliament, for Senate, and the Attorney General for the government of Kenya. So there is nothing fundamentally that will go wrong, because one way or the other there will be an equilibrium and balance of justice and positions taken and agreed upon. So I don't see any acrimony. And if indeed the High Court can deliver a decision and Rigathi Gachagua is not satisfied, then his legal team can move to the Court of Appeal. That process is allowed. And if the Court of Appeal can deliver a decision that does not favor them, they can as well move to the Supreme Court. But I think my own simple understanding about the petitions surrounding the presidents and the deputy presidents related to interpretation of the Constitution and the laws should have been the preserve of the Supreme Court, so that they are dispensed of once and for all within a very short time. And since we had never done this before, and we are doing it for the first time, the wisdom, the freedom, the capacity. One thing we have to be very proud about is that we have a highly, highly independent judiciary run by competent men and women who can take decisions independently without being coerced from anywhere. It's one thing we have to be proud of as a country. And also as a country, we've got very experienced lawyers sitting on the bar. And this is a moment that we see the best of our lawyers coming out. We see the best of our lawyers putting forward the arguments. You know what? That helps to bring peace in the country, because we don't need to go to the streets to struggle, to shout and do our own things. We let our legal minds sort out the things. And we let our judges and our courts bring a determination. And we have seen,
it's okay.
Keitany, come think of it, the presidential election in 2017 was nullified by a court of law. And it was respected within the country.
Now, talking about
and we went for an election repeat. So I think we have a well-grounded, independent judiciary. We want it to remain more independent, more effective,
Mr. Sossion,
so that then we have a country of good democratic governance.
Thank you very much. Mr. Widi, let's talk about, Mr. Sossion has alluded about nullification of the presidential election. Now, what happens if the courts rule in favor of Rigathi Gachagua?
What are his prayers before the court?
He wants the entire impeachment against him overturned, because he feels, of course, the court will proclaim itself. He was impeached by the Senate, but Gachagua says through his legal team the process was flawed.
He has to tell us at what point the process is flawed. Actually,
he says he was not given fair hearing.
What Gachagua is doing, he knows that the courts are highly independent, highly professional, and I think he just wants to intimidate them early in time. He will intimidate them, but in the end they will give a ruling. Even President Uhuru Kenyatta intimidated these very courts in 2017, and they came up and ruled against him. But as we stand now, I don't think Rigathi Gachagua has a valid prayer that when the court agrees with, will return him to being DP. His being DP is long gone. There's no way he can be DP. I don't even think the court can force the president to renominate him as the DP because he stands fired.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about matters politics in a moment. If the courts will not rule in his favor, it will stand that indeed Gachagua is impeached and he will not be able to vie for any political office. Now, that in itself throws a spanner into the works because ahead of 2027, the general elections, President William Ruto will be, of course, seeking re-election. Now that he will not be able to vie, will that make him a kingmaker? That is regarding Gachagua.
He will not be a kingmaker. Why he will not be a kingmaker? The mountain will have a new kingpin. And I sat from where I'm sitting to tell Rigathi Gachagua, resign in time so that you have an opportunity to run for any seat in the future. But he never listened. He's going to face a situation where he will be unable to be the kingpin. You know, who knew Rigathi Gachagua before he was nominated as DP? They were just a handful. He was a first-time MP. An MP who had been no more than a DO and a briefcase carrier for President Uhuru Kenyatta before he became president. That is who he was. But the nomination by President William Ruto for Gachagua to become his DP is what lifted him onto the limelight. Then I think he was trying to grab more than he was given. He wanted to be a co-president. Every time he spoke, he was speaking as my government and President William Ruto, as if it was a co-president situation. Even when we had almost two co-presidents that we christened the principles in Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki, we never used to hear such language. I think Rigathi Gachagua took it too far. So what is going to happen? He believes that he's in the hearts of the people of Mount Kenya. That is not the truth. He is in their eyes. They see him often. They see him every day. The moment he will go home and the media will no longer take him seriously. In fact, once he's been impeached, when he calls the media for press conference, they will send to him broken cameras. Go and record him and bring, we see if there is news there.
Mr. Susion, as it stands at the moment, we've seen whatever is happening in parts of the Mount Kenya region. We even saw the county commissioner during the Mashujaa Day in Juja, in Nyeri. The moment he started reading the speech of the president, people started walking away. In fact, there were chants in some parts of Mount Kenya when the speech of the president was being read, to be specific in Juja. Now, with the nomination of Professor Kindiki as the deputy president, will that sort of cool the situation down in Mount Kenya region now that is coming from the same region?
If circumstances don't change and they remain constant, and Kithure Kindiki is the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, one Kithure Kindiki is a young man, about 52 years. He's a professor in law, and he's an experienced politician. He's a smooth operator. He was the agent of the president in the elections, and he was able to deliver victory for the president. And he is from Mount Kenya. This is a fact for sure. That will be the next president of the Republic of Kenya at the expiry of the tenure of President William Ruto. That's a high possibility. And I can't talk about what could have happened, what is happening around the reactions, the temporary reactions, the emotions that could be there within. And let me tell you, the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua is not impeachment of the people of Mount Kenya. Neither is it impeachment even of his clan or even his family. It is him as an individual. He carries his own cross.
Because of time, just briefly.
And an appointment has been made of a deputy president from that particular region. The day he will raise the Bible and swear as a deputy president, that message will resonate within the mountain and within the Republic of Kenya.
So you do believe that indeed
Kindiki is not going to be the king of the mountain. No, is going to be the deputy president of
Fair
the
enough.
Republic of
No,
Kenya.
gentlemen, we are running out of time.
And I think we are getting out of
Fair
these balkanizing regions
we're running out of time, Mr.
where
Susian.
there are kingpins.
We're running out of time. Just 1 minute each, your final submissions. Starting with you, Mr. Odoyo-Wiri. And even as you give me your final submission, is Kindiki a man that, you perceive will be very, very influential in the Mount Kenya region, even as President William Ruto prepares for re-election? Will he be able to marshal the support of the Mount Kenya region for President William Ruto in 2027?
Exactly. Considering the arrogance we have seen from kingpins who come from large communities, I think Kenyans are going to fall back to people who come from small communities like Kindiki. Okay. Kindiki is going to be the perfect presidential candidate post-William Ruto, because he comes from a smaller community. You know, people who come from large communities have this sense of entitlement, to an extent which the deputy president, a person who was on the ballot paper as additional information, is telling Kenyans that he was elected by 7.2 million people. He wasn't. It is President William Ruto who was elected, accompanied by his running mate. But there's something I must say about what happened during the Mashujaa Day. You are telling us that people walked away. All political anti-government activisms are sponsored to embarrass certain people. In fact, in politics, if you want to embarrass somebody, you take the goons right to his backyard, so that if he's properly embarrassed.
We're running out of time, but it seems the only the only thing that you have to say in regards to anybody that counters the government is they've been paid.
I did say paid. Sponsored. You can be speech, you can be
fair enough.
Mobilized.
Mr. Sosion, we are really running out of time.
We are becoming a country of merit in terms of politics. And now we are getting to a space where all communities, whether they voted for government or not, participate equally and benefit equally from government development. Number two, we are at a very fast rate realizing politics of issues in the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sosion.
Ethnic fiefdoms and kingpins are a thing of the past.
We are a
country of merit.
Thank you very much for making time, Mr. Sosion. Thank you very much, Mr. Odoyo-Wiri, for making time to be with us this particular morning. Remember, this comes at a time even when the church and preachers here in the country have gone to, of course, criticize the president in terms of his leadership and what is happening in the country. Remember, President William Ruto rose to power through the church. Some believe the church was very, very influential in ensuring that President William Ruto ascends to power, but that will be something that we'll continue to monitor. Remember, today we'll be following up on what will be happening in the corridors of justice in regards to the case regarding the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and as to whether he will indeed, Rigathi Gachagua himself will present himself in, or rather before the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, as he has been invited by the Bureau. That is all that we had for you this particular morning. Thank you very much for making time. Do have yourself a wonderful day. Remy Majal will be coming to you in a moment with a morning vibe. But do have yourself a wonderful day. And like always, God bless.